Otherworldly Companions, Tensura XORV, by Livionne. Chapter 36. Final Disasters 4. Rimuru's Pav. Of all the things I have to fight. Roar. Why this? Dot. 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 Main Scenario Number 5 Final Disasters. Category. Main. Difficulty. SSS+. Clear Conditions. Defeat the Disaster of Storms, Rimuru Tempest. Time Limit. Compensation. 1 million coins. Failure. Destruction of Soul. Dot. 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 Kim Dokja's Pav. You have experienced first-person supporting character Pav. I hastily ran in front of Li Ji as the berserking Shin Yusing was about to fire a powerful magic cannon at her. You can now obtain a skill of the supporting character you are immersed in. Raw. The disaster roared in through the cannon, releasing a violent force that sent shockwaves throughout the battlefield. You have obtained the exclusive skill, Sentiments of the Beast King. But before the cannon could hit Jaihe, I appeared in front of her and took the damage upon myself. The exclusive skill, Sentiments of the Beast King LVL.3 feet has been activated. Thanks to this skill that strengthened my body, I was able to reduce the damage of the cannon. You copied her skill, but that won't be enough, Yu Junghyuk said as he appeared beside me. I know. Cover me, Junghyuk. Most constellations want to see an action-packed fight. Okay. If that's what you want, then I'll act it out as much as you like. I will stop the disaster of floods, I said resolutely. I zoomed towards her, each step filled with determination. Due to the sentiments of the Beast King, I was able to manifest beast features upon myself. My fingers furred and elongated to sharp claws as my coat, undulating behind me, grew feathers, almost resembling a pair of wings. The exclusive skill, Bookmark, has been activated. As I closed our distance, I could see her monstrous characteristics. Her expression was filled with wrath that threatened to bestow destruction. However, despite the menacious appearance, I could hear her thoughts. It's okay, you can kill me. It was almost a whisper in my ears. She pleaded for it to stop, while her body trashed around against her will. So this is the price I have to pay for failing the scenario. As my bookmark flipped its pages, I chose the character who's suited to fighting evil. Jung Hee-won's overpowered skill. The exclusive skill, Hour of Judgment LVL.5 feet has been activated. If I used my own strength, damaging her would only result in almost pointless. Now that I have this skill, damaging her would be absolute. I swung my sword upwards her shoulder, creating a large slit that poured blood out. The Hour of Judgment was a skill used by the Valkyries during the Holy War. Therefore, the user of this skill receives protection from the angels and never loses as long as they're fighting evil. Since Shin Yusing's alignment was fixed to evil, then this was the best skill against her right now. The disaster roared in pain, gritting her teeth before attempting a kick at my side, but I was able to parry it with my sword. I took the moment, thrusting my sword at her head, but she evaded it with her inhuman reflex. She took a leap backwards, her hand covering the cut on her shoulder as it bled. Monsters and beasts appeared from the rift, coming to her aid in this battle. The skill was overpowered, but I cannot do this by myself. Everyone joined the fight, all forces of Incarnations uniting to take down the monsters from the gate. Yu Sangha and Li Jaihe kept the disaster at bay as I took a moment to catch my breath. Then, Junghyuk appeared behind me. She must have made a deal with the devil to cross our world, he said. I nodded, looking at him through the corner of my eyes. He was bruised and battered earlier, but I guess he used his skill to recover fast. Were you planning to let Rimuru fight her? He inquired. Yeah, that was supposed to be Plan B, but Plan A was to change the scenario and keep Shin Yusing alive. Since that Dokubi interfered, we were forced to do Plan B, where Rimuru has to fight against Shin Yusing. That was the plan for the disaster of floods. But Rimuru rushed off to Nodul Island, I said. We have to change plans. You're letting him fight alone. Yu Junghyuk's voice sounded a tad angry. Yeah, I know. Even I myself didn't like the idea of sending him alone to fight a random disaster. But Rimuru himself insisted. He can handle himself. I breathed out, sounding confident, but deep down. He's strong after all. I'm drowning in worry. The disaster of storms has awakened. Dot. 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 Rimuru's Pav. I was frozen. My eyes wide as I stared at the monstrosity before me. It had two heads, one from a menacing tempest star wolf, mouth snarling with low vibrations as its large fangs baring, marking itself as a danger. The other head was mine. But its face was a fuse, 8 red eyes resembling a spider monster and a large, salivating mouth with razor-sharp teeth from an orc. Its left hand was a sinister centipede, and the right hand was armored like a crust lizard. The creature had a tail, or rather, a storm serpent, opening its mouth as if ready to release a deadly cloud. RRRRGGRRH. But despite its menacious appearance, the familiar dark blue attire accompanied by a fur scarf caught my attention. I was definitely not mistaking it. Alert. Detecting a powerful, dense energy from the creature. The monster I'm facing right now is me. Incorrect. The one you are facing right now is the double you've left behind to fight Hinata Sakaguchi. Great Sage corrected me, but it didn't register in my head. It's still the same. It was me. The Disaster of Storms was the clone I left behind before I died. ROARRR. The Disaster of Storms has used the skill, Coercion. The creature roared loudly, sending ripples in the air, causing the surrounding trees to snap from their roots, and the ground where we stood cracked and crumbled. Its voice shook the entire island. No, it reached beyond from here. The air was thick with pure animosity. And I was shaking. My whole body was trembling. I couldn't move or even tear my gaze away from the disaster. A familiar and very human emotion hit me, one I haven't felt for a very long time. Fear. Countermeasures. The exclusive skill, Sage's Mind LVL.5 feet has neutralized the effects of coercion. The fear suddenly wore off, but uneasiness lingered in my heart. A large number of constellations are smiling at you. I could imagine their mocking smile and laughs at me as they watched. It must be fun, huh? Whatever, I don't have to pay attention to useless things. I gritted my canine and unsheathed my sword, my brows knitting to a frown. What are my chances of winning? I asked Great Sage. Average. I began to palpitate. I've never faced a powerful monster like this before. Notice. Detecting an attack, preparing countermeasures. Just what kind of creature did I create? The monster, insentient, followed its very nature. The last command and the very reason for its existence. Gluttony. As the monster's 8th eyes landed on Rimuru, standing in a distance, its mouth immediately began to snarl, indicating its intention. Notice. Detecting an attack, preparing countermeasures. Rimuru gripped his sword, his body tensing as he focused on the monster in front of him. With a blink of an eye, the monster disappeared from its position, leaving the ground where it stood seconds ago to crumb. Rimuru's magic sense and Sage's mind were at their peak, his eyes following the monster's movements. His thoughts were accelerated 100 times, the maximum performance that his skill level offered. But even with that, he still had little to no difficulties following the monster's movements. The monster appeared in front of him, its armored hand raised in the air before slamming it down with a powerful force, its bulbous fist intended to crush Rimuru. The exclusive skill, Multi-Layered Barrier LVL.4 feet has been activated. Rimuru activated the skill, and multiple layers of barrier enveloped his body. Boom. However. Crack. Alert. Rimuru was forced to evade instead of defend. He leapt backwards in a flash, his eyes widened at what he just witnessed. The first layer cracked. Despite its finest performance, the multi-layered barrier was still damaged. Rimuru clicked his tongue before he landed on the ground. His eyes were still on the monster, and he couldn't tear his eyes in fear it might disappear again and reappear. The ground on which he stood moments ago was slammed into a large crater by the monster with portional strength. Its 8 eyes darted in different directions, and as one eye laid on Rimuru, the other eyes followed and stared at him. With a growl, the storm serpent behind the monster sprayed a terrifying dark cloud towards Rimuru. The Disaster of Storms has used the skill, Corrosive Breath. The blue-haired boy acted fast. He evaded the dark mist, and as it hit the ground behind him, it instantly corroded, molting like lava. Rimuru zipped towards the monster with all of his speed. His sword hanging behind him as he accumulated strength, then surged it forward towards the monster, attempting to cut it in half. The monster growled and defended itself with its armored hand, successfully deflecting Rimuru's sword with a loud clang. It took Rimuru by surprise, his face frowning, but the small crack that appeared on the monster's armored surface made him smirk. The exclusive skill, Black Flame LVL.6 feet has been activated. His sword erupted into a torrent of black flames, piercing through the monster's arm further as Rimuru pushed his sword down to cut it. On spur of moment, the two heads of the monster opened their mouths. The disaster of storms has used the skill, Sonic Blast. Defeating sound waves burst out from the two mouths, sending wave after wave of deadly sound waves at Rimuru. He halted his sword and pushed himself away from the monster. He barely dodged it, and another crack formed at the edge of his barrier. Again, Rimuru's frown darkened. His frown even darkened as his eyes went wide at the sight. The burning arm from the black flames were cut off by the monster. Then, it started eating its arm with a loud chewing noise. It reminded him of the Orc Lord, but that wasn't the problem. The monster was eating the black flame. Notice, recognizing skill identity. Then, its armored arm grew again. Its two heads breathing in and out. Then, the disaster of storms has used the skill, Black Flame. It started to breathe out black flames. Recognizing skill confirmed. The disaster of storms has used the skill, Gluttony.